thank y'all for being here.
Thanks for having us.
This is
It's such a
beautiful.
pleasure.
So one of the biggest things that I've been blessed to have is the same story she have, and I think y'all have. Something snapped y'all into. For me, it was this, and so how I even got engaged in this was real. All I can say is you can't make up having your steps ordered. It's That's no, true. You can't make that up. You can't make up who our ancestors are. And I'm a born again, saved by grace Christian. But I guarantee you, it was a whole lot of ancestral hands involved in how I got back here. And I'm gonna share some of that story while we going throughout. We not on no time frame.
Sure.
You know, we gonna sit up and we just visiting each other. This is my home. This is literally my home block. So my grandma grew up here. This property right here, I've been blessed to be in position to be purchasing along with the property next to it. And this property going on out here that it was happening so fast. I'm like, well, shoot, how the heck can I make sure we preserve all of it? And that I'm continuing to see is every time we sit like this and share, it's a instant common bond. That's why this is not your usual, we're gonna go see Africatown. God sent y'all here. And the reasons that we about to connect and do some of the stuff we're about to do is because we knew enough to hear that voice. Absolutely. And respond and boom. The journey starts with our grandmothers. The Minos are who they're called, the protectors of the village. They are the ones that you see perpetrating in Dahomey, which is present-day Benin, the captive of Baba Kasala, Charlie Lewis, Zumba, Aluale, the whole Goomba. Yeah, if y'all turned in on the main street, y'all came in off Peter Lee Street, where that's the chief of the community. That street you turned down is named after him, but when we go over the story, he was given away by royalty. So he wasn't even supposed to be a part of getting traded into the transatlantic slave trade until King Glele, who was the chiefdom at that time, was like, yeah, you done fell out of grace with me, you're out. And gave him off to Captain Foster, who was a part of the ship that came over. But the story begins with Madinim. Madinim is a forgotten thing, but not. One of the things that I started discovering was when I was just learning the history, because I became a historian by oral history. So most of what I'm sharing with y'all, you'll see it in some book somewhere, confirming some of it. But the rest of it, 50% of what I'm gonna share with y'all, you cannot get nowhere else. And I'm talking about from talking to the elders and the descendants of Africatown here, to me going back to Benin in 2018 and sitting with the elders over there. And so I've been charged with, as Anderson told me, to share and tell our story. Because that's the part they was concerned with, is making sure the story gets told. And so the Minos are what we know in Wakanda, the Goji, or the Tour Motherland. These warrior women that, when you look at Zora Neale Hurston's book, they was the one that went in and jacked.
Woman King.
So isn't it crazy? Again, them colonizers got us, boy. They making the bag off of our stories. Where they do that at, I don't know. But one of the reasons why I'm not even in certain documentaries that were shot here, because the ancestors came to me and it's like, nah, don't do it. Don't even be a part of it. That's the only thing I can say hit me, because when I got back, if you see the documentary that the Navy did on the work we started, I was so excited being back home, because I grew up in this community. I grew up in the projects right across the way that we're gonna go to. And one of the things that was really getting at me was the dilapidation and the blight and all the stuff that had happened. So I was like, man, what the heck? And so when I started learning everything, it was as if somebody robbed me of an opportunity that I didn't know I had. And this after, I did 24 years in the Navy. For all intents and purposes, I was about to retire. I wasn't worried about doing nothing else but chilling out. Because I had been breaking my back for the last 24 years. But in a divine chain of events, on March 18, 2018, me, and we're gonna pass by his house, Mr. Cleon Jones. Cleon Jones is a Hall of Fame Mets MLB baseball player that he, along with a couple of other elders, have been keeping the neighborhood clean since the inception of their life.
Okay.
And so he came back home after being the catcher that caught the last out in the Miracle Mets World Series in '69.
Wow.
He is a Alabama and National Archive. That is, if you say Cleon Jones anywhere globally, they know who he is. And he's from here.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw the story on the news.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
He lives 2 houses down from my grandmama right there.
Okay.
And so when I got back, I ended up linking in with him, and we picked, again, like y'all picked a random date, right?
Yes.
We picked a random date in March to come out here and start doing cleanups. Well, in the process of doing that, we didn't know that at the same time they had, quote unquote, say they found the enslaved ship Clotilda. Well, that's a problem now because Africatown been around the whole time, over 160 plus years. In 1861, right when the Civil War kicks off, it sets a chain of events in order that brings people like Jesse Jackson, John Lewis, and the delegations of West Africa to Pritchard, Alabama, not Mobile. Think of Pritchard as that's why people at. That's where the black folk at. Think of Mobile as overly colonized. It's 52% black pretty much here, but they the ones that got the port. They've got most of the systems here and everything.
That's what my mom was born at.
Wow.
Pritchard?
Where? Pritchard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the city that brought John Lewis. You know who John Lewis is.
Absolutely.
We know who Jesse Jackson is.
Absolutely.
We know when West Africans come all the way over here with the League of Mayors from Tuskegee to Montgomery, all the way down here to Alabama with John Smith, Micah Figures, Bill Clark, Henry C. Williams, and a host of elders in this community to talk about an economic partnership between Alabama, Pritchard, and that West African nation. How is it that we sit here and don't know that?
Come on.
How is that me and you sitting here now and Jesse Jackson came to Mobile to talk about a partnership with where your people were from in West
Exactly.
Africa, but now we learning it? How come we talking about the woman king as a theme,
Yeah.
but we didn't orchestrate that? That's the importance of the oral history. To see if we sit up and we do like most people that's going to come to Africatown, they're going to go to the Heritage House. So if you haven't been to the Heritage House, if you got time today, definitely go because that's where a lot of some of the oral history, they got some of the artifacts and all that stuff there.
What's cooking? It smells so good.
About most of this is who it is, and then officially, when I told you people that can officially give a no kid, hey, this is Africatown, it's them right here.
Ooh, that's that cooking. Yeah.
Just come on in, jump on in, and just be just like a family reunion.
Definitely be here. Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Little circle of life, Africatown to Africa.
Yeah.
Because they hadn't got there yet.
Exactly.
We there because we African. And so that sister is the brainchild behind the descendants yearly cultural celebration that they had here every year, working up to now. They do it in the summertime now, but every Black History Month they would do this celebration.
Okay.
And you can't make this up. We jumped this gate. This is an inside story. Me and her jumped that gate right there during the first year. National Geographic, the Smithsonian, the world is coming to Africatown, right?
Yeah.
We jumped this gate, got over the fence. After we got over the fence, got in so we can finish setting up the tables and chairs, set up the speaker system, and all that stuff, just for the next day to find out that all this big media is showing up for this event. At first, it was just like now, just a community event. But by then, all this stuff had got worked up, and then they found out that it's gonna be a cultural celebration. So you know what the colonizers do. They come and record what they want to record.
Of course.
So they can set their narrative. And some of them with good intentions to come out here and uplift a story that, remember, it's been here for over 160 plus years. And at a minimum in 84 and 85, John Lewis, Jesse Jackson, and a delegation of Africans came to Pritchard, Alabama to talk about how can we take Africatown back and forth between Africa and us and create a trade zone to where they want to financially make a connection. That banana tree sitting right there in this yard that we were sitting in has been in about 2 or 3 of the documentaries. That's the first thing. The second thing is it was a gift from the community lady that stayed in the blue house to Miss Green. Miss Green owned this house before I purchased it. And so, oh, we gotta get a picture with this one. I gotta get a picture with this banana tree. The lady across the street gave her that banana tree as a gift, and it grew that big.
Okay.
I took a small piece of it and gave it to the sister that's sitting in the museum. I gave her a small one, and that's the one that's growing in her yard right now.
Oh, wow.
When I gave it to her, it was this big. And so it's sprouted up. So literally, that shared banana tree has sprung up in about 3 different yards. One lady gifting it. That's on this block. Now, here go the eerie part, right? Read this story of this banana tree right here. So you remember how the sister just told me to make sure, again, I can't even do my own tours and be grown. Old folks making me take y'all places.
Yeah.
So, this story of the banana tree was painted by Jackie. Jackie is the wife of Professor Yaminku, who came over here as a Fulbright professor from Benin. So he's a professor in Benin. Dude is a world-renowned scholar. And she painted this on a banana tree. I had never known the history of the banana tree, or why it was specifically important to African community until I read this.
Wow.
And by mistake, we had been doing this with the banana tree already. And so all of the symbolisms on this wall were painted by a Cameroon. She's from Cameroon.
Okay.
So she painted, yeah. So she painted all of that. All of.
We have courage. We have that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's called afene.
Yeah, that's what she was. She had one around her neck.
Oh, that's dope. So look, we got Africatown with us.
That's strength. It's also an Edinburgh symbol.
Okay.
Yeah, that's also, and then Sankofa right there.
Okay.
The bird is going back to our roots.
All right.